Spring is here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily, yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
The Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America, has thousands of runners running for thousands of reasons.
I'm running to raise money for Achilles International, so amputee athletes can keep running too.
For every mother counts, because all women deserve access to quality maternity care.
For St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and every kid with cancer who just wants to be a kid again.
Join Bank of America in supporting this year's runners. Give if you can at BofA.com/help-a-cause. References to charitable organizations is not endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2024.
We have this mentality a little bit of shooting for perfection and settling for excellence, so we go into on-air completions, all the guys should be echoing that in our drills, routes on air. Hey, no balls on the ground, 100% completions, no drops, no errant throws, perfect timing, crisp. I saw several years ago.
On today's Coaching Coordinator podcast, we share a segment from Eastern Illinois offensive coordinator and quarterback coach Joe Davis, given at Lawrence First and Goal Clinic in 2021. In this episode, he really talks about setting up your quarterback for success, the coach's responsibility in that part, and then some ideas for easy completions. The entire clinic is available on CoachTube. Link is in the show notes, and it's 50% off right now for both of Joe Davis's courses. If you miss the discount, please DM me and we'll get you set up. Be sure to register for Lawrence First and Goal Clinic, lfgf2023.coachesclinic.com. The clinic benefits so many families who need help while their child is being treated for cancer, and it also benefits pediatric brain tumor research. So please help out, and it's going to be another great clinic with over 100 speakers, great topics, guys who really know their stuff and are giving back to this great cause. Here's the episode with Coach Davis.
Support for this episode comes from Modern Football Technology. Modern Football Technology provides real-time opponent tendencies and self-scout while eliminating manual data entry into Huddle, DV Sport, and Exos. If you're tired of tools that are time-consuming to learn and perform inconsistently at best, then we recommend Modern Football for a fresh perspective. Schedule a demo today at teammofo.com to see a battle-tested tool that's proven to perform and deliver value. Mention Coach and Coordinator Podcast or use the coupon code CC10 to receive 10% off your first year. And listen to our recent episode featuring Folsom High School defensive coordinator Jordan Ersick to learn more about how the 2023 California State Champion uses modern football to dominate their opponents.
I think today, for the most, some of the concepts, some of the things I'm going to talk about today probably are not revolutionary to a lot of folks. Some of the concepts, some of the things I'm going to talk about today probably are not revolutionary to a lot of folks. But here's my up above opinion, really, of what's happening right now in college football. It's my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. I think today, for the most part, everyone's running versions of the same stuff, right? I mean, you could watch the national championship game from last Monday night. You saw Steve Sarkisian do some awesome things schematically, against a great defense. But much of that was derived from really a lot of the basic things that many of us run today. And to be great at those advanced schematically designed plays, if you will, you've got to be great at the basics first. And that's something that I've really challenged our staff and challenged myself with over the last year or two, is said, we run stick. Hey, we run a hitch, we run smash. How can we be so detailed that we run it better than anyone else? How are our drills applicable to this specific play? And how are our drills and our installation married up to make our players just a tick more successful than our opponents on Saturdays? Because to me, guys, that's the secret sauce. is how things are being taught, what the coordinator is saying. Is that trickling down into the position meeting rooms? Are guys saying the same thing in the meeting rooms? Or are they saying different things? Those are things I think as quarterback coaches, a lot of us are coordinators or aspire to be coordinators, is you really have to be hard line on is saying, this isn't a flat route. This isn't a shoot route. This is an out route. This is what we call it in the offense. And I think a lot of times those things get lost in translation, even as much time as we all spend. And I think what happens when those details and those drills and those techniques get lost in translation, or coaches start to make it their own, you sink a little bit towards mediocrity. And those are the things I think that are really, really important. And I'm going to talk about today and things that are really important to our offense here at UAlbany. I've got a unique story, man. I came up as a Division III player, and then was fortunate to be a Division III coordinator at a really young age at 24, 25 years old, and then became a Division II coordinator. And now, on my third different program as a Division I coordinator and FCS coordinator. And a lot of things, guys, there's a lot of trial and error in here, man. A lot of trial and error, a lot of kind of figuring things out as I went. And so hopefully can really present some stuff that'll help you today. With here first, and I would just challenge the quarterback coaches with, just like any successful company, right? Just like any successful team, there's a mission statement, there's a standard, there's a word, there's a phrase, whatever the case may be. Everyone has a different viewpoint on these, right? And some of them are kind of fluff. Some of them you can really adhere to and live by. And I would challenge the quarterback coaches to say, just what's our mission statement in this room? What are we going to live by? And then, so when I created this OEP several years ago, it also gave me a little bit of a standard on how to judge the quarterbacks and really how to go through an actual quarterback competition, right? So maybe you got 2 or 3 kids competing, and the kid that's not running with the ones comes in and says, Coach, I'm really killing it, man. How come I'm not with the ones, or how do I get better? And so this is a little bit of a mission statement, so to speak, for those guys to judge themselves. So the first thing we talk about is operation. And what I challenge the quarterbacks is, before you ever are able to compete for a starting job, you have to be a master of our offense. You have to be a master of the operation. This is something that probably we're not going to spend a ton of time on, right? And requires a lot of self-motivated time and discipline within that quarterback. Does he know every formation? Does he know the verbiage? Does he understand the splits of the wide receivers? Hey, on this play, is the back supposed to be in pistol, or is he offset? Hey, am I under center or in the gun? Is the tight end on or off the ball? Hey, is this a short motion or a long motion? Hey, is this a jet sweep or is it a dummy sweep? And then in tune, I don't know if anyone saw this last Sunday on NFL Countdown. They did an awesome piece on snap count and the ability to manipulate and be a master of the snap count in the NFL. And certainly with no fans this year, we've been able to hear some really cool stuff that the quarterbacks say on these game days. You're going to hear it today in these playoff games. So that's really a challenge for the quarterback. Typically your starter is a guy that masters that pretty quick. And once he has those things mastered, you're going to feel the confidence swell, not only in that individual, but within his teammates. So that's something that we challenge the quarterbacks on big time. We really spend a lot of time. I get a lot of grief from coaches on our staff that can hear me down the hallway as we teach our guys how to manipulate the snap count and use voice inflection and certain things like that to get the defense to tip their hand. So, and we have a goal of every practice of 0 operational issues. That might even be a fumbled snap. I tell the quarterbacks, I said, you think I'm going to put that on the center, that ball's on the ground, or the running back? No, that's on you. That's on us at all times. We are absolute placing an extreme value on the football. So 0 operational issues. Efficiency. I did a big study on this several years ago of the top 25 teams in FBS football. 23 of the 25 teams had a 63-1 guy as their starting quarterback, or a combination of, if they were playing multiple guys, right? So what that means is that they were above 60% completions, and they were 3-to-1 touchdown to turnover guys. And I would challenge you, if your quarterback's like that, guys, and you're getting into week 9, 10, 11 of the season, you're probably in first place, right? Or if you're not in first place, you're contending there late in the season. So we have this mentality a little bit of shooting for perfection and settling for excellence, So we go into on-air completions. All the guys should be echoing that in our drills, routes on air. Hey, no balls on the ground. 100% completions, no drops, no errant throws, perfect timing, crisp. I saw several years ago, I was out at a bowl game and watched Kellen Moore, when he was a quarterback of Boise State, go out on the field for his pregame warmup with his wide receivers and air routes. It was like the crispest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, balls just zipping, nothing on the ground, dudes jogging balls back, getting lined up, really, really smooth. That's the challenge. That's what we're shooting for. 7-on-7, we're looking to complete 9 out of 10 passes. I joke with the quarterbacks. I said, guys, you can throw it to the back every time, if you want to get a completion. But this is a drill with no pass rush. Certainly you have to be very, very efficient in. And then once we settle into those team times at practice, we're looking for that guy to be at 75%. And again, he's got a different color jersey on in our practice. He can't get hit. I said, guys, you can cheat that drill. You can hang in the pocket a tick longer. Ain't nobody going to touch you. And that's what we're shooting for. We're really looking for that efficient, accurate guy. Okay. And then the last thing is production. When you're in the game, are we scoring points? Sometimes those drives are really, really awesome and they're clinic tape and everything's clicking. And other times they're just ugly. But the quarterback that had the moxie and the toughness, to keep those drives alive is ultimately what we're all judged on as play callers and quarterbacks. And really the goal is very easy is did we win the game? And when we're in practice, when you were in, were we scoring points? We use that little DSR, that drive success rate, to evaluate quarterbacks and drives at times, just as a hard, fast number. But again, my challenge to you would be to set that in your room, whatever that may be. That's something that we've used here for a while. A couple things here. And again, this is getting a young quarterback started. The quarterback coach should be the guy that has the organized mind, right? That really sets the tempo. I challenge my quarterbacks. I say, when you guys are up drawing plays on the board, draw it as if the Miami Dolphins and the Dallas Cowboys scouts are in here watching you. It should be clean. It should be crisp. All 22 guys are up on the board. You should have the route depths in there, the adjustments, because that's what's demanded of the quarterback. I mentioned that quarterback manual. I have no problem sending that out if guys want to shoot me an email. That can be as when you develop that, guys, that can be 1 page. It can be 10 pages. Everyone's a little bit different in how they do it, and a lot of those are just expectations for the position, not the player, right? So here's how a quarterback at UAlbany is expected to act in the classroom, in the weight room, in the football meeting rooms, what his demeanor should look like on the field. Talk about that snap count, talk about your pre-snap checklist, his responsibilities pre and post snap. What is his demeanor as he's in the shotgun? How do you want his feet? Where do you want his eyes? How are his hands set? These are all things I think as a coach too, once you start to put them down, you start to articulate in your mind and say, wow, is that really what I want him doing? Or, boy, we don't even have a plan for this. I kind of been getting away with it for a while. We don't have a plan for it. So I think that manual is important to share out with your quarterbacks. A meeting plan, certainly now it's a little bit unique. You don't have a ton of kids sitting in meeting rooms, but I think you should have a seating chart in that meeting room with the quarterbacks. You got 5 or 6 guys in there. Where do you want your starter sit? Where do you want the number 2 guy sit? Where do you want the scholarship freshman as opposed to the walk-on freshman? I always have them strategically placed so as right-handed quarterbacks, based on how our room is, they have the ability to draw on a whiteboard with their right hand. And they don't have to get up out of their seat, or they don't have to turn awkwardly in their seat to draw. Again, it's a little thing, but those are things in a meeting room that helps it go a little bit more efficiently. When I have the quarterbacks take notes, we're not a playbook operation here at UAlbany. We don't hand out playbooks. I mean, literally, we give the kids some templates and some blank stuff, and then they have to take great notes. And so I teach the quarterbacks how to take notes. It's something that I believe in, that, if they're clean on the board and they're clean in their book, they can be clean in the mind. And so those are some of the things that I literally want them to list out and categorize. Hey, what is the play name? What is the read category? I'm going to talk to you guys about that here momentarily. What is the specific movement key, right? Who is the guy that we're looking at? What is the man answer? I always challenge my quarterbacks. I say, guys, when I'm presenting a play to you, whether it be installation or in a schematic game week, you should always ask me, Coach, what's our man answer here? Right? We're a heavy RPO operation here. And that's the number one way people try to get us out of some of those cute RPOs is they kind of jump into man coverage and pressure you. And so what is the man answer within this play? And then footwork hitch count. I'm going to talk about that today. I'm a big believer in this in developing young quarterbacks, that we actually attach a hitch count to every single pass concept that we run. Right? So, very simple. For example, if we're throwing a flat curl, we use what's called big 3 in the gun, that flat route should be thrown on rhythm, right, with no hitch, and that the curl route or the hook route, however you call it, should be thrown on 1 hitch, right? Those are things that I think are really, really hard, fast. They help with timing. I say all the time to the quarterback, let your footwork dictate your clock, and also will allow some self-coaching to go on, right? So that quarterback threw that curl route on 2 hitches. Well, every quarterback in the room should be saying right now is that, hey, he's late. He's a hitch late here. Those are the things I think that you're really, really hard on the young quarterbacks with, is how that footwork attaches to your offense. It's going to help with timing. It's going to reduce sacks. And it's going to, as much as you can, teach that young man to be an anticipatory thrower. I'm going to show you some clips of that here momentarily. A very difficult thing to teach, as we all know, right? I mean, sometimes dudes have it or they don't, right? They have the ability to get that ball up and down and anticipate defenders or anticipate leverage. Those are the great ones, but certainly we want to be able to control the controllable as much as we can and teach that. And then in the meeting plan there, as you get into a game week, and I'm a big stickler with this with our coaches, when we present our first and second down game plan to the players, that cut up has to be so organized. You have the ability to show the quarterback or your position room the lead coverages and pressures against that particular formation, but also show him why we're running the certain plays we are to attack those specific coverages, right? And so you have the ability as a coach to manipulate that cut up to not only present to him the facts of the defense, but also sell to him a little bit the game plan, right? I mean, I want that guy with a little bounce in his step walking out of that first meeting saying, man, we're going to get after these guys this week, right? We've got a great plan against them. Coach has got everything kind of dialed up. We've got good answers. And I think that's really, really important from an organization standpoint before the quarterback ever steps on the meeting, or steps on the field. That cut up is really, really tight, right? I mean, we get in about every formation imaginable, and I can usually get to about 30 or 40 plays top end in that cut up. So it's got to be really, really organized. It's something I spend a lot of time on a Monday night after all the game planning is done with the coaches. The third thing there, that on-field plan, nothing drives me crazy, man. I go to see other places, whether it be NFL or high school, whatever it is, and I see the quarterbacks jogging out with the rest of the team. I see the quarterbacks come down and just start kind of flipping the ball around. A real veteran guy, an all-American type guy, he's earned that a little bit, right, when he gets on the field. But early on, quarterbacks are going to be challenged. Man, you guys are the first ones out and the last ones to leave. You know exactly where you are in the field. This particular quarterback is responsible for bringing out the ball bag and making sure there's enough balls in there and towels, so to speak, right? And then here is the warm-up progression that I want you guys to go through, right? Here's the 20 or 30 throw progression, wrong foot toss, balance toss, over-exaggerated ball location toss. There's a few things that we do here that I want them to start doing. And then as they are loose with that particular warm-up, they can start to kind of progress and move out. I mentioned earlier, if you're a quarterback guy, you got to do some research on Tom House. You got to go and read Bruce Feldman's QB1 book and really talk about warm-up and rotator cuff and labrum development and all these type of things that I think as a quarterback coach are the foundation of how you're getting your guys to be better throwers. And I always say that you can have all the great individual drills in the world. If you want to be a great thrower, you got to throw. We got to throw the football, right? We have to get really, really good at that. The fourth thing there, progression of practice. I always believe this: great coaches, great players understand the progression of practice. This is something you should be really hammering those quarterbacks on. Hey, what we do in individual should translate to group time. What we do in a group time should translate into team time. And then certainly what we do in team time needs to show up on Saturdays. So that's a big deal. I've started to theme up our drills. And I'm a big believer now that really all of our quarterback drills are based on two things: pocket movement and ball location, period, right? I'm not going to do a bunch of crazy drills. I want to teach my guy how to efficiently move in the pocket, right? I mentioned earlier about that hitch count being attached to all the passing concepts. Oh man, if I can teach this quarterback how to move efficiently, how to move only as much as he needs to while maintaining what's called a passing profile, man, we can get a lot of great late completions off what I call real life, right? I'd love every pocket to be perfectly clean, but there's a lot of bumping and grinding in there. The time that you spend teaching that quarterback efficient pocket movement, Tom Brady's a great example of it, I think really pays dividends. And then ball location. We use some buzz phrases around here that I think have really helped us. And I love it when I can hear the quarterback say it back to me about ball location. I use this phrase all the time with perimeter throws, okay? Outcuts, comebacks, post corners, sails, flats, whatever it is. Miss outside, live for another day. Miss inside, and it's going the other way. We spend a lot of time on what's called boundary push on those throws. I want those guys really making the wide receivers extend towards the boundary. And certainly some of those throws, once the quarterback gets good at it, are as undefendable as you can get. We use a phrase here called all interior throws, numbers and below, right? Slants, digs, basics, skinnies, whatever the case may be, drives, whatever it is. If I get my guy on the ground, we're safe. We got the completion. It is what it is, and we move on to the next round, right? So the next play, and those are some of the things I think that as a teacher, which we all should aspire to be as the best teachers, you're creating these little phrases and the guys are saying them back to you, man, you got something rolling now, so those are some of the ways that we've sort of themed up our days. All right, let's talk about getting the quarterback going here. Really what you came in here, and I apologize for saying easy completion concepts. Nothing's easy in college football anymore. We play in a league that's about as defensive dominated as there is. Every week, it's just a son of a gun to get yards and points. So I don't know that anything's easy, but we'll try to get these guys going. Here's what you're looking for, okay? Minimal pre-snap recognition, right? I love my guy to go through this big checklist, and he's grinding through safety alignment, the overhang, and blitz demeanors, and man, we'll get there, right? We'll get there with that really good quarterback. How can I get some stuff going early in the game that does not require him to do a lot of that? You can find these concepts in any offense. We're looking for half field or access reads, right? How can I divide the field for the quarterback, right? It's the old adage, if you try to see everything, you're going to see nothing, right? That's why I've created these read categories. I'm going to talk you through some of these read categories, okay? Big believer in these. Divide the field for the quarterback. I'm looking for quick game footwork or rhythm throws, right? I don't want a bunch of concepts that force him to take big 3 and 2 hitches, okay? You're going against good pass rushers all the time, man. Two hitch throws, good luck. It's real life. They're going to happen a lot, but how can I develop some stuff to get us off the ground here and get the ball rolling? Certainly looking for the ability to move the pocket, get him out a little bit, help the offensive line, help the quarterback out, make him feel like he's a little bit more comfortable on the run. And then obviously we're looking for stuff that does not require any protection adjustments, right? I don't want that young quarterback real worried early on about sliding protections and moving things certain ways. And so these are some of the things that you're thinking about, as you're going through this.
Thank you again for listening to the Coaching Coordinator Podcast. Be sure to check the show notes for the link to Lawrence First and Goal Clinic, LFGF 2023.coachesclinic.com. Save 50% on Joe Davis's course. Link in the show notes. Again, DM me if you miss that window. Check out all we're doing at coachandcoordinator.com and follow me on Twitter at Coach K. Grabowski.